Greetings once again, demons of the underworld. Duuz-Diz-Din back again with Dead Rock. In the previous chapter, the students of Class F were set upon by the minions of Lozen, students who were brought under the thrall of Lozen's power, and because of the actions of Class F previously where they wiped out another class, our heroes have been thrown to Lozen as well, and thus Yakuto was forced to unleash the full power of his black dragon form. But he lost his mind in the process, causing Hien, Raizen, and Hani to attack him, lest he destroy them as well. Meanwhile, at the same time, Freya found her sister amongst those undead corpses under Lozen's thrall, and while initially she hesitated in striking her sister, hoping to somehow bring her sister's mind back to her, she realized it was a lost cause, and decided the best way to honor her sister was to finally surpass her, ending the miserable existence that her sister found herself in, and swearing to kill Lozen. However, everything was halted when God, the principal of Dead Rock, descended, angered by the fact that his school was being destroyed, subduing Yakuto with a quickness. And once Yakuto was reverted back to his human-like form, he was imprisoned by the teacher Lilith. But when all was quiet, the same girl Yakuto had met before, with black cat ears and hair, approached him, seemingly looking to form an alliance to take down God. Can this girl be trusted? And seeing just how powerful God truly is, able to easily outdo Yakuto's full dragon form, what could be powerful enough to take down a god? Join me as I find out, won't you? Alright. Dead Rock, Chapter 6, God Save. Another Mashima classic profile. I loved it when he did this for Fairy Tail. The only bummer was that some of the characters that he made profiles for just completely disappeared from the story. Now, some that were based off of his assistants, I can understand those being phased out over time. But others just were gone. I still miss you, Mickey Chicken Tiger. Regardless, name, Frey. Root, Ifrit. Class 1F. Likes, strong people. Dislikes, water. That feels like that tells me she doesn't bathe often. Note, her older sister never graduated from Dead Rock, so she came here to graduate and surpass her sister. But since she found out that Lozen humiliated her sister, she hates him. She likes Yakuto. For some reason, and I'm not into this kind of thing, but I feel like Frey should have, bare feet. I don't know, maybe I haven't even, really gotten into Fire Force, but I think that's the vibe I'm getting. And because Natsu would always run around in, sandals, I don't know, it's just something about her having shoes just doesn't seem right to me. She feels like the kind of wild character that would run around barefoot. Alright. We pick up in the Demon Ruler Training Institution, Dead Rock. We see the students of Class 1F, Makoto, Frey, who has her head down, Raizen, Hien, Chaco, and Hani. Some papers are suddenly slammed down on the desk. We are introduced to Saru, with the root of the great sage, Heaven's Equal, aka the Monkey King, character from Chinese literature, and the new Class F teacher. Okay. Yeah, because Maxwell kind of had his eyes gouged out. Did they find out that he was a puppeted corpse? Not being really subtle with the Wukong references, but I mean, what Wukong reference usually ends up being subtle? Saru folds his arm at the head of the class, calling out, "I'm taking Maxwell Sensei's place. I'm in charge of this class now. I'm Saru." And because Saru's name literally translates to monkey, Chaco starts to chuckle saying, "Your name is Saru and you're a..." And Saru gives Chaco the most death glare of death glares. And Chaco immediately shirks back saying, "I'm sorry." Hani tells Chaco, "If a little glare is enough to scare you, don't provoke people. Are you stupid?" Saru then comments, "I hear you lot went berserk at Death Arena." Raizen says, "That was Yakuto." Saru continues saying, "Well, now that I'm in charge of you, I won't let you stick a toe out of line again," he says with an intimidating aura, although our students seem unfazed by this. Saru then raises his hand and says, about what that Yakuto kid did. I'm holding the whole class responsible for it. Suddenly, something rumbles above the student's head, and rocks come clattering down on top of them from above? The hell? Is he punishing them? The room to Class F is pretty much destroyed. The students all buried, unable to get out from underneath them. Makoto struggles, saying, "What's this?" Frey cries out in pain. Ryzen questions, "Where'd these boulders come from?" And Hien states, "Must be his power." Hani questions, "Is that teacher stupid?" Meanwhile, Saru goes to leave, simply saying, "Stay like that for a while," as he walks through the doors. Meanwhile, we see Yakuto staggering back to his classroom. How long has it been that he's already off of punishment? Although, already it might be an overstatement, as he looks like he's been drained. And considering that Lilith is a succubus, I don't know if he's lucky or unfortunate. Also, sexual harassment of student. Yakuto then opens the door to his class and sees all of his classmates buried under boulders. Where's Chaco in all of this? She's not dead, is she? Yakuto's shocked and questions, "What happened to everyone?" And Ryzen gives him a glare, saying, "It's all your fault." Makoto says, "Our whole class is being punished for what you did." Frey asks, "Yakuto, could you move these?" Yakuto cries out, "Oh no." Well, Ryzen says, "Just get them off us," with Hani adding, "These boulders weigh a ton." Yakuto then summons his black dragon arm and easily manages to break down the boulders, freeing his fellow classmate. But I still don't see Chaco. Makoto smiles, saying thank you, and Frey beams even more, saying it's his fault we were stuck there in the first place, though. Yakuto simply says, "I'm sorry," looking penitent, though Ryzen glares at him, saying, "I'm seriously gonna kill you." Hien dismissively says, "Yes, you caused us quite the hassle," while Hani simply says, "We could have died." Hani then looks around, saying, "Hey, the bird's gone. Dead? Well, whatever." Makoto then says, "I see that black dragon power is as destructive as ever." Yakuto pauses and then says, "But this is the max I can do right now." You then see a flashback with Lilith confronting Yakuto in the dungeon, with her saying, "Your power is too strong. God has ordered me to take it from you." How? Yakuto questions, "My power?" Lilith then says, "Be a good boy for me," as she leans in. Yakuto shirks back as much as he can, saying, "No, stop." And then he cries out. Lilith then licks something off her hands. Oof. While Yakuto looks utterly emancipated. Not emancipated. He hasn't been emancipated yet. And he's breathing heavily. Lilith then turns and walks up the stairs, saying, "I didn't take all of it. You need a certain level of power to live at this school. I'm leaving your dragon power in your right arm. Do your best with it." Wonder if there's a reason why she chose just his right arm specifically. Ryzen then questions, "So you can't turn into a giant dragon anymore?" Hien states, "Well, it would be a problem if you did. You seem to lose all reason in that form." Yakuto goes on to explain, "Nearly all my power was stolen over these last 3 days. 3 days, huh? But my efforts did bear fruit. I found someone who can help kill the god." He thinks back to the cat girl with the black hair. He tells everyone, she told me that God's weakness is written in a book that's in the Dead Rock Library. Cars Velocity. What a name. Makoto is shocked, questioning, "Cars Velocity? The gigantic labyrinth that holds all the books in the demon world? What a weird name to have, Cars Velocity." Yakuto tells him, "So I'd like you all to help me find that book." Ryzen grabs Yakuto by his shirt, questioning angrily, "Are you out of your mind?" Makoto simply says, "Sorry, but I have no intention of helping." Hien questions, "Don't you think you're being too selfish?" With Hani adding, "We've got no reason to kill God." And while Yakuto seems to be genuinely shocked by their defiance, Frey then steps forward saying, "I'll help you. This will be my chance to kill Lozen. I'll do whatever it takes." Banny shot. But with a serious face, she tells him, But it's about time you told us why you want to kill God." Yakuto pauses. Makoto then gives a smile, saying, "Yes, I want to know too." Hani tells him, "Depending on what it is, I might just decide to help you out." Although Ryzen says, "I'm out," while Hien also says, "I'm not interested, but I guess I'll have you tell us anyway." What a roundabout way to saying, "You know what, I don't want to help you, but I'm still interested in why you want to do this." Oh, he says, my goal is to graduate from this school. If you're planning to destroy Dead Rock, I might have to cut you down. Yakuto continues to look away from the group, with everyone else waiting for his response, and Hien pressing, saying, tell us. Finally, Yakuto breaks his silence, saying, alright. You have a flashback cutting to 10 years ago in level 644, in the Black Dragon Village on Wicked Horizon. Okay, so he actually is from Hell. Okay. I thought he might end up being human. You see a village integrated with several bone-like trees jetting from all over the place, a bustling marketplace, but suddenly there's a commotion as people call out, it's Yuzuma-sama! Yuzuma-sama's back! A young Yakuto looks on, and we see a gruff-looking man with several tattoos enter through the archway of the town, adorned with the heads of black dragons, I assume statue heads. The people cheer. Yakuto joins in as well, saying, Dad! Yuzuma glares down at him, and then gives a big old goofy grin, leaning down, hugging and nuzzling his son, saying, Yakuto-kun, how you been? Yakuto says, welcome home. And with Yuzuma saying, Daddy's home. Suddenly a woman approaches from behind, saying, Dear, Yakuto's not a baby anymore. Yakuto smiles at her, saying, Mom. Yuzuma turns with a glare, saying, Rizuya. But then he's all over her, trying to smooch her, saying, my beloved wife, love you so much. Oh my goodness. Rizuya does her best to hold him off, saying, I'm always telling you not to do that in public, remember? She wipes the slobber off of her face, saying, and stop slobbering around my mouth. You'll mess up my makeup. Yuzuma shirks back in sadness. But Rizuya blushes and tells him, only when we're alone, okay? Aww. Yuzuma then picks her up and runs off with her, saying, let's be alone right now, Rizuya, my love. With Rizuya saying, gee, honey, as the town people laugh. As Yakuto beams at his parents, one man turns to him and says, I'm glad he made it home safely again, Yakuto. And Yakuto gives a smile and a wink, saying, Dad's strong. The townspeople all say, his job is really something else, though. He's in God's personal guard. God saves, right? Oh, okay. That's what God saves me. But God's personal guard, huh? Is this a Saiyan situation? Starting to feel like it. Another person says, he's the pride of us black dragons. Another one says, he was chosen to be one of God's warriors. Yakuto then questions, but isn't God the strongest in the demon world? The man Yakuto was talking to says, in the demon kingdom? No, he's the strongest in all three worlds. Heaven, the demon world, and the human world. The strongest living beings, so to speak. Oh, God. It's like, let me clarify. It's just like, no, not just the demon world. All the worlds. I wonder if that's propaganda. Yakuto then asks, if he's that strong, why does he need God saves? The man says, because his greatest enemy is lack of faith. God saves fights to purge those foolish enough not to believe in God. Gee. Okay. Silhouettes. So we go from the 4 teachers, and now there seems to be 5 other members of God Saves aside from Yakuto's father. Okay, so maybe this is like the Uchihas, though. They were gonna have an uprising, but just not one of their own coming and doing them in. We cut to late that night. We see Yakuto fast asleep in his bed, but there are people outside chattering up a commotion. Rizuya questions, what could it be? And Yuzuma goes to the window, saying, some sort of fuss outside? The townspeople are looking up to the sky as a figure seems to form out of a ball of light. It's God. Okay, so he just showed up and wiped them out? The people cheer, saying, it's God. Oh, God is here in our village. Utterly sublime. Thanks for coming. God. God calls out to the people, questioning, is Yuzuma here? Yuzuma steps forward, saying, yes, sir, right here. God looks down towards him, and then he asks, is this your lovely wife? Yuzuma says, yes, sir. This is Rizuya. Rizuya bows, saying, it's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. God licks his lip and says, let me have her for a night. Really? Oh, fuck this dude. Yuzuma is taken aback, saying, huh? With Rizuya shocked by this, and the townspeople are bewildered, chattering amongst themselves. Yakuto then awakens in his bed, looking out and seeing the people as well as God floating in the sky. Enchantment fills Yakuto's eyes as he says, God! Meanwhile outside, Yuzuma tries his best to stay, calm, saying, pardon me, but I don't understand. God continues on saying, I'm saying I'll take good care of her for you. She might lose some limbs, but I'll give her back. Rizia shrieks in terror, and Yuzma grows angry, saying, you must be joking. God smiles, saying, I don't joke. My orders are absolute. If you have faith in me, offering up your wife should be a mere trifle. Yuzma shouts, I'm a member of your personal guard. And God simply says, I have no use for those without faith. Something's odd's going on here. To just roll up and say this, and for everyone to be taken off guard. Okay, so this isn't something he's known for doing. This is odd. Yuzma stands in front of his wife saying, what happened? You're not yourself. Yakuto presses up against his window, looking on in fear. God then exhales. He then lifts his finger, and light emanates from his hand as he says, enough. And then just like that, he summons down a series of multiple twisters, utterly destroying the town using God Hurricane. The townspeople are torn to pieces by the intense wind, and through the intense force, Yuzma looks on, questioning, who are you? Okay, so something was off here. Because there's no way, because there's the impression that Yuzma has been working for God for a long time now, and he's never done something like this before? We see God laugh at the destruction, and the next thing we know, Yuzma, Rizia, all down on the ground dead, as the young Yakuto looks on in shock. Is that really all there is to it? Then what happened to God? Is he being possessed by something? And the demon world seems very cruel, but to just up and do this to someone in your employ, you think he would know something about this. But Yuzma seemed to be completely bewildered. I don't know, that's so strange. Cut to present day, as Yakuto tells his classmate, my family and all the other villagers were massacred by God. Frey, Raizen, Makoto all look on in shock, stunned by this, although Hien seems less taken aback by all of this. Although he has the same stern expression as always, so it's hard to tell. But Yakuto continues on saying, that God is a fake. I can't let him live. Okay, and the plot thickens. Alright. I really thought we were gonna find out Yakuto was from the human realm, and the Black Dragon bestowed his power upon posing as a demon. And it's entirely possible that the story that Yakuto told here is completely made up. Just because this series has had a bit of a hard edge to it, and to find out that Yakuto is telling fibs, that'd be an interesting direction to take things. But, I don't know, Mashima has a tendency of giving a little bit of twist to his villain. Like the rare grooves in Rave, Zareth's true identity in Fairy Tail, and the identity of Ziggy in Eden Zero. I'm fully expecting to have some weird twist, but I'm not sure what it could be, honestly. Now, it's hard to tell, because Mashima said that he was going to keep this short, but to have these beings known as God Saves introduced now we're starting to go down the rabbit hole of the various different groups that our heroes will encounter over time. But again, it's hard to know just how out of left field Mashima's gonna go with a lot of his direction with this, because Mashima's already doing a lot of things he doesn't normally do. Just from having a main character who's just so ready to kill. But now that Yakuto's been depowered so much, how's that gonna come into play with things? It might be that because he was depowered, he might slowly gain back his abilities and gain a greater understanding of how to use them. But there's also the question of Yakuto's ability to do this. Is it something that they're called the Black Dragon Clan, but is it something that his people all could do? Or is there more to it than that? Not to mention the idea that nobody in the village tried to fight back or anything like that. It's just Mashima's definitely hiding some details here. Some major detail. There's so much room for so much to happen in that flashback. So I'm interested to see where it goes from here on out. But I want to ask you, do you believe that all of Yakuto's story is true? It almost seemed like Yuzma recognize something in God, or maybe he was just generally asking, who are you? Because he's just like, you're not my God. And how long had God been changed? Or is it potentially just that Yuzma averted his eyes from the truth of God's evil nature? And now that they know the backstory of Yakuto, how many will actually go along with it? I mean, let's face it, Ryzen and Hien have been the hardest edges here. I could see Ryzen being a little swung by the story, but I don't know. The fact that Hien still had the same scowl as usual, does he think that maybe Yakuto is lying or maybe leaving something out? Possibly. We'll have to see in the next chapter. So like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the ride so you don't miss out on the next one. And until then, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you later. Till then, bye-bye.